Hello friends, Tattooed Biker here. Welcome back to my channel where I bring you the most interesting and creepy, unexplained, and unsolved stories. Today's video is going to be a little different as I take a look at the top 5 most haunted elementary schools. Education is meant to show you the path to enlightenment, but sometimes the path can get uncomfortable when spirits refuse to let go. So let's dive into it. Taita Elementary was built in 1974 and was up and running until 1998. There were no reports of anything strange happening in the school until around the time it closed down. Legend states that a woman who worked in the school had committed suicide by hanging herself in one of the girls' bathrooms. This woman was said to be wearing a long red dress, and Chinese lore says that when a person dies wearing all red, their spirit comes back as vengeful and sinister. Sometime after this tragedy, a young girl was claimed to be possessed by the woman's spirit, and she started acting strange and violent, and even attacked her fellow classmates who tried to help her calm down by biting them. This young girl then tried to hang herself in the exact same spot that the woman did before her, which is strange considering this girl had never even heard of this story before. Around the decade after the school had closed down, people would often break in to explore the haunted grounds and have made reports of seeing an apparition roaming the halls and classrooms of the school, and she was wearing a long red dress. The spirit now is known by the name of the Red Lady. That doesn't conclude the haunting story of Taita Elementary, as the grounds it stood on became a dark history of its own. During British occupation, the people who lived in the village were brutally murdered and buried under the grounds of where Taita stands today. Along with the tragedy that occurred in 1941 when the Japanese took over, villagers were also brutally murdered and were buried in the grounds right next door to the school. There's no doubt that more spirits roam the halls along with the Red Lady. Today, the Taita building still stands, as it dwindles down more and more to nothing but an old building with a haunting tale. Number 2. Matthew Whaley Elementary School. Location, West Virginia. This story begins with a woman named Mary Whaley and her son Matthew, who sadly passed away at the young age of 9. Matthew attended a little school where Mary was also a teacher, and he loved going to school quite a lot and made a lot of good memories there. To honor her son's memory, Mary decided to put her money into renovating the little school and improving the way it looked. The school was then renamed in his honor as the Matthew Whaley School, or what others had called it, Mattie's School. Eventually, Mary moved to England and entrusted the school to the local church. In 1870, the community decided to put their money together and make another renovation to the school, and remade it into a brick building with 2 rooms, and the original name was kept the same. In 1929, the building was renovated once again after the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation purchased the lot to make the Governor's Palace. However, in its current state, it's known as Matthew Whaley Elementary School. Spirits don't just connect themselves to buildings. They can also connect themselves just to a name of something as well, which was the case for this school. It didn't matter how many times the building was torn down and remade. It only mattered that Matthew's name was still connected to it. Children and teachers have reported hearing footsteps in the hallway and hearing a child running around and playing inside the school and on the playground. Apparently, the little boy has been seen interacting with the children as well. The apparition that people would see always resembled a little boy around the age of 9. However, much like the Taita Elementary School, the land that this school was built on also has a dark history connected to it. During the 1950s, there was a lot of violence against the African American population, and wrongful lynching was extremely common. And everything got even worse during integration. It's rumored that 2 young boys were lynched right on the grounds where the elementary school stands. and people have reported seeing these two boys walking around the school and playing on the playground together. People have also reported that the two boys were spotted with another little boy, who has been assumed to be Matthew. Number 3. Posttown Elementary School in Ohio. In 1963, a man named Darrell Weissman attended this school and made a lot of memories there. He enjoyed going to school there so much that he bought the building for $189,000 back in 2004. 4 years after it was completely shut down and abandoned. He had the dream of renovating the school and making it his home. It didn't take long for Darrell and his wife Brenda to notice strange occurrences happening throughout the building. Their family lived there alone, and yet they always heard voices around the building. Darrell's good friend offered to help him repair something upstairs. He was known for being a pretty tough man, and even he got spooked. While he was working upstairs, they heard a scream and saw him come running down the stairs. He claimed that he saw a ghost. The couple called in many paranormal investigators to inspect the 54-room building, and each and every one of them confirmed that the building was indeed haunted. News got out about the haunted school, and the couple thought they could make some money on it, and started charging people for visits, tours, and overnight camping. People recorded their experiences there and posted them online, which helped the school become even more well known to the public. In the recordings, you could hear people walking, running, and screaming. You could also see doors opening and closing by themselves. But the big question came eventually. Why? Paranormal investigators said they believe the hauntings came from 2 different train crashes that were only a mile away from the school. Both of these crashes happened on July 4th, but in different years. It's unknown how many people died in the 1895 crash, but the crash in 1910 killed 24 people, with over 30 more severely injured. It's believed that the building was an emergency medical station for the people involved in the crash. Number 4. Parks Road Elementary School, Missouri. The school was built on what used to be a cemetery. Normally, when new buildings are being placed on the grounds of a cemetery, the bodies and tombstones are supposed to be transported elsewhere. However, it's thought that a few bodies must have been forgotten about. It's reported that apparitions could be seen stalking along the halls, and children would run frantically to their teachers, telling them that they saw a young girl crying in the bathroom. The teachers would go check the bathroom, and every time they saw nothing. There would also be a woman walking around the school who spooked children on a daily basis. She could be seen wearing a green dress and had no eyes on a pale white face. It's said that the woman would chase children down the halls if she caught them staring at her. However, the children weren't the only ones who witnessed these spooky things. Many faculty members reported hearing blood-curdling screams during times when children were not in the school. Number 5. Farrar Elementary School, Iowa. The school was built in 1921 and closed down in 2001. It ran for 80 years until the population there began to dwindle and remaining students were moved to Anderson Elementary. Across the street from Farrar Elementary resided a 150-year-old cemetery, where the number of graves grew while the number of the population fizzled. The building sat abandoned for 5 years until it was purchased by Jim and Nancy Oliver in 2006, in hopes of making it into their new home. However, that dream all came crumbling down when they realized that they weren't alone inside the building. They would hear voices and see figures roaming the halls and staircases. Eventually, it became too much for the couple, and they decided to sell it. The new owners of the property were warned about its haunting nature, and they went along with it anyway, making it into a recording studio. The studio was rented out to a band called Ghost Hive, and another man, Ianda, took the room next door to the band. As he set up his equipment, he monitored the band next door, and suddenly his computer screen went out and became fuzzy. This was very unusual, as he had never had an issue with his monitor before. The fuzziness like this doesn't happen with modern technology. That wasn't the strangest thing, though. The volume on his headset maxed out without him even touching them. He couldn't turn the volume down until suddenly everything went back to normal. He was never able to figure out why any of this happened. He was also a big skeptic when it came to the paranormal, but he was left second-guessing his beliefs after this encounter, which left him with a ruptured eardrum. And there it is. All I have for tonight on the most haunted elementary schools. Tell the truth. Did you expect this list to be this scary? Which elementary school in our list surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you have any stories or information about these schools, don't hesitate to share. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back with more stories of the unsolved and the unexplained every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So thanks again, take care, and I'll be seeing you on down the road. Biker out.